Women Talking. Should it be nominated for an Oscar? Should it win the Oscar for Best Picture? Let's dig in and find out. Women Talking is a motion picture written and directed by Sarah Polley based on a book of the same title that was written by Miriam Toews, Toews, Toews. I didn't know much about the book or this movie before the movie came out. But as it turns out, Miriam Toews was born Mennonite and raised in a Mennonite household, not in a compound or colony like the movie, but in a very conservative Mennonite household. She heard... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the spoiler warning here because I'm going to talk about the book and the movie sort of interchangeably, and I'm going to assume you know the story from here on out. So this is your spoiler warning. She heard, Miriam Toews heard the story of the Manitoba Bay. Sorry. The Mennonite colony in Bolivia called Manitoba Colony. And there were many attacks on women and girls, some boys, occasional men, using horse anesthesia to knock them out. Without getting into all of the gory details, the Manitoba colony incidents became known as the ghost rapes of Bolivia. And after the truth came out and the men that were convicted of being guilty of these things admitted to over 300 attacks, Miriam heard the story and wrote the book. So the movie is based on the book. And the book, while not based on a true story, the quote is, the book was an imagined response to real events. So the movie's not really based on a true story, but the true story is the bit just before the movie that is the catalyst for this movie. It's a lot, I know. And for a movie that's called Women Talking, and a movie that lives up to that billing, and it really is a movie of women talking, it's, if you enjoy actors acting, this is a great movie. It's a stellar cast. We're starring Rooney Mara, Judith Ivey, Emily Mitchell, Kate Hallett, Liv McNeil, Claire Foy, Sheila McCarthy, Jessie Buckley, Michelle McLeod, and Frances McDermott. And then the one man that's in it is Ben Winshaw, who plays August. August is the school teacher. So let's break it down a little bit. Before the movie even starts, the events actually happen. The attacks. There are attacks on women and girls. The possible perpetrators are taken to prison or jail, and the men from the colony go to post bail and bring them back to the colony. So while they're gone, the women are left to decide what they're going to do. And there are three options, as they see it, are they can do nothing, or they can stay in the colony and fight for their right to be not attacked, or they can leave. Now, in the reality of this movie, in this Mennonite colony, the women do not read and write. So they make a drawing of the three options, and the women are to put their mark, whichever thing they're voting for. Let me check that. But the stay and fight and leave end up tied. So they elect a council to decide. And it's these women in the movie that are deciding what all of the women of the colony are going to do. And for a conversation that starts with, if we leave, we'll be excommunicated and damned to hell for all time. That's where their conversation starts. Now, it goes on, and of course they do make a decision, and the entire colony of women abide by that decision, except for Frances McDermott, who doesn't wish anything to change. Now, as a man watching this movie about this topic, it would have been very easy to make a movie that attacked men, that made me feel uncomfortable, but it didn't. At no time did I feel uncomfortable or anything like that. They were the writing and directing of Sarah Polley was crafted enough that the evil were the actual criminals, and the other men in the colony were wrong for allowing it to continue to happen. It wasn't all men. It wasn't men are evil. It was those men are evil, and these men were wrong. And August, the school teacher. So August is there because he can read and write, and he's going to take the minutes so that there's a record of what they said, who said what, and how the decision was made. The performances in this movie are fantastic. The cinematography is really good, even though we rarely leave the hayloft. For the most part, this movie takes place in one location, which is a hayloft in a barn. All the women are dressed very conservatively, but there's no trouble telling who's who. And everybody has a unique point of view. There's no real caricatures here. These are all well-rounded characters. I'm very happy I got to see this movie. Rooney Mara is fantastic in it. I was a little let down that Frances McDermott wasn't more central to the story, but she was great in what we got of her character. And I assume she did, she brought her name to the project so the project would get done. So should it be nominated for Best Picture? When I look at things as to whether or not they should be nominated for Oscars, specifically Oscars are from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. So the Best Picture should take advantage and be a, what's the term they use? Should have outstanding achievement in the art and science of movie making. So, from the art, the writer, the director, the actors all did top-notch work. The cinematographer did really good work. The editor did good work because we never feel stagnated, even though we're staying in the same room talking to the same 7 people. At no point do you feel like it's bogging down. And you never feel like you're looking at the same thing over and over, which is really kind of a trick when you make a movie like this. But they did it. The score was very simple, but that was to echo the simple life of the Mennonite colony. So, from the art, which is, the cinematography and the acting and the writing, to the science of directing and editing and sound, the costumes were on point. There were no issues. So I would say, at a minimum, this movie deserves to be nominated for Best Picture. The writing was such that it evokes emotion, but at no time did it ever feel preachy. Now, if it's going to win, it's one of the movies nominated this year that if it won, I would not be disappointed. And there's a few of those. So I'm going to release my final predictions on who I think the Academy is going to give the awards to, and as well as who my heart's with and hope they get on Saturday the 11th. So look for that. I think this was a great movie. I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments if you liked this movie. And if you like these reviews, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see them all, hit the notification button so that you know when I drop the next ones. And the channel's going to do reviews of movies and TV shows. So also in the comments, let me know what shows and movies you want to hear a review from. But that's it for me on Women Talking. My name's Sean. This is Sean's Take, and I'll see you next time.